So a couple years after I graduated from UCLA, I had been doing sales, medical sales, and a friend of mine opened up a place in '91 called the Manhattan Beach Brewing Company. And I got a part-time job there after I would do my sales job, and we'd go down and bartend and make pizzas and things like that. That turned into investing in the Redondo Beach Brewing Company, which opened in 1993. And I ran that for a few years before getting involved with making brewing systems that were manufactured in the Czech Republic. So I had the fortune of, over 4 years, going to Europe a number of times around the world, selling brewing systems to these new things called brew pubs, kind of the beginning of the craft brew industry in the early 90s, and really, really fun opportunity to go out and see the world and help restaurants and breweries, get up and running with this new thing called craft beer. That evolved into taking over John T's Tavern. And John T's was a little pub on 6th Street, about 40 seats, beautiful Honduran mahogany and brass and tile, and kind of a throwback to something you maybe see in New York or Baltimore, San Francisco. And I knew the Johnson family that had redone the whole John T. Gaffey building on 6th Street, and were the proprietors of John T's. And it was there for about six or 7 years, and then closed. So I had an opportunity when I was selling brewing equipment to have our offices upstairs to sell brewing equipment, and then take over John T's downstairs, and then put a brewery in there to open up San Pedro Brewing Company, which we did in October of 1999. It was a small menu, had a number of bottled beers on tap, a number of bottled beers and some beers on tap. I brought my experience from running the Redondo Beach Brewing Company and kind of beer knowledge into turning that into a much bigger operation, where we took over the print store that was next door and turned that into a dining room, a patio. We put a brewing system in that I had manufactured in the Czech Republic, started brewing beer there, started doing live music. We were one of the first live music places down on 6th Street, and really built up a big menu. We always kind of called it a little mini cheesecake factory. There's something a little bit for everybody. And so just been over the years evolved into kind of a meeting place, a gathering space, a business lunch space, a catering business, craft beer. We name our beers after local spots and local teams and things like that. And just really had a wonderful experience being in downtown San Pedro for 25 plus years. So it's been fun being, I would say, kind of an anchor in downtown San Pedro. One of the first people that I met when I opened up was John Papadakis from the Papadakis Taverna down on the corner. And they were great as far as welcoming us into 6th Street, because around then there weren't too many restaurants, and John would bring his clientele up, and before they would have dinner, because we had a liquor license and they just served beer and wine at Papadakis. So he would come in after having people come eat dinner, before dinner. Sometimes he'd come in with his shirt off because he just danced. But a lot of fun, and really welcomed us into San Pedro, and helped us kind of develop our culture of being a fun place to hang out and meet up with friends and family and celebrate and have good times.